Hey, what's up, people? Episode 55, Sports Debate Tuesday. Guess what? Episode starts. You know it. Right now. Carol, what's up, man? What's up, Bobby
What's up,
McGee?
bro?
Yo,
How you doing?
hey, people. Episode 55, along with Rob. Keep it. McLean. McLean. I'm Jason DeBeas. Thank you for having us in your living room, and Daddy is back. Rob, I guess we have a lot to talk about. Not a whole lot, but a lot. Got some pretty interesting subjects. JJ Watt. We're going to talk a little defense. Um, because there's going to be a lot of quarterback changes in the season in the NFL, but I wanted to talk a little defense, see where's an ideal landing spot for him. NBA, the world of flopping has become very that other football like soccer like where guys aren't even getting clipped. Just, so we're gonna definitely chat about that. Shame or no shame's gonna be fun, but spoiling it for you guys is we're just gonna go shame. But the question is it gonna be shame on who? Of course, quick question at the end, and we have a little thing at the end before we go. But first things first. UFC 258. Usman versus Burns. And a card that looked stacked to the gills, and fights were just dropping off. They were just dropping off like flies. It turned into a stacked card to just a main event heavy card. And the main event just delivered. Now, we're going to talk about some matches and maybe who stuck out before, but let's talk about the biggest match that welterweight could possibly offer at this time, right? A red-hot Gilbert Burns, an unstoppable Kamaru Usman, the Nigerian nightmare. This is UFC 258. The welterweight champ, Usman, defeated a red-hot number one contender, Gilbert Burns. Rob, we'll talk about this fight, but the question, who in this division, welterweight, lightweight, or even middleweight, is next up or can stop Kamaru Usman?
I don't think anybody. I think this is kind of crazy. He's very I don't even think we've seen the best of him. I don't think anybody's put him in deep water. I mean, people have stunned him, and I think he doesn't have a lot of dexterity in his defense, but offensively he's pretty scary, man. And overall, on a five round, fight, it's very tough to talk about defeating him in any type of way. If anything, it's going to come down to a card battle, but I don't see anybody stopping him, putting on his back, and then, defeating him. I just don't see that. So,
yeah. You want to talk about that right hand, right? That jab?
The jab. Yeah. I mean, he's just, very, very unstoppable force at the time. But who's next for him? I mean, I honestly think this fight was a little early. I think that Gilbert Burns was kind of just, he always looks like he's kind of banged up a little bit, has always got something a little wrong. So I think
because they spar like fucking idiots, dude.
Yeah, so that, it even seems like maybe Kamaru Usman is doing a bit less of sparring before his fights because he looks a lot fresher coming out. He looks a lot cleaner, even though Gilbert Burns seems like he's the more explosive type of fighter and probably even takes his rounds even harder than Usman. But I mean, I think the next fight is going to be this fight. I honestly don't see anybody else giving Kamaru Usman the amount of the type of dangerous combination that Burns does. But just for just for fun, I think maybe you talk about other divisions. The winner of what's it called? The winner of Adesanya and Blachowicz, that could be a fun one. Just moving up different weight classes. Who knows? But I think Kamaru Usman, like he was talking about, putting some respect on his name. I don't think we can talk about potential matchups in his division anymore. I think we have to start looking outside the box and start looking at other divisions where he can, raise or lower his weight and start challenging for a two champ.
You know what happens when you make a guy like this wait to get his title match? He had to win a lot of matches, and because I guess he wasn't the needle mover, he had to, wait. And do you know what happens when you make a guy like that wait to get his title match? He cleans out the division. He's already cleaned out the division before he got his shot against Tyron Woodley. And that's what happens when you make someone wait. I mean, you got guys like McGregor, you kind of fast track him, and then when he wins, he's not a defending champion, he disappears. But sometimes you get these guys like Jones, they win their belt, and they're like, hey, give me the next one, give me the next one. George St. Pierre, Anderson Silva, give me the next one. Khabib, I got a couple of more left. But this guy, when you make him wait, the division's already cleaned out. He beat Woodley 5-0. 5-0. Woodley's a tough guy to finish. I mean, he hasn't been knocked out since Nate Marquardt. And as a service for humanity, gave Kobe Covington. Even though Kobe Covington represented him well, I was more impressed by Covington's, chin or whatever than anything else. But as a general blanket, service to humanity, shut that dude's mouth. Shut him up, put a straight up whooping on him. In fact, all on my Twitter hashtags is going to say, I broke your face. If you remember that, I broke your face.
Yeah.
Now, going into this match, there's some things I wanted to say. First of all, Usman's chin, Kamaru Usman's chin, and his recoverability is uncanny. He got caught and got rocked that first round that we've seen Gilbert Burns hit other people, and that was subsequent to a finish. But he had a strong chin, and he took the shots. And then as a few seconds went by, as Gilbert was assessing the damage, he just started recovering. He was like Wolverine. He's just started recovering as we speak. So something else I wanted to say. It's a very scary feeling when you hit someone with everything you got, and people usually wilt under your power. And then you continue to hit everything you got because he was on the ground. Remember, I call it the dead cockroach, like the staring contest when the guy's on the ground. But Usman used his time and kicked the hell out of his back thigh until he was like, okay, I'm getting up. And when he got up, hit Usman with a knee, and Usman ate that too. But there's something to be said about hitting someone with everything you got and they still standing there. That is a scary feeling for me as a human being. I don't even know what fighters feel on that, or maybe they just keep going. But we're human. I mean, even elite athletes are human, Rob, right? There has to be some set of like, okay, that was my game plan, and he's still there. Now what, right? Anyone who's ever watched Conor against Nate Diaz twice, anyone who's ever watched Conor versus Khabib, maybe not against Dustin, but you have to be thinking that, right? You have to be thinking that. So, and like you said, before we got on the podcast, you were talking about that right hand jab, man. The guy switches to lefty, and his right hand's even more crisp. He has a 76-inch wingspan, so it's like 6'4". So he's already got long arms. He's African. I'm saying I don't mean that as a racist standpoint, but this whole concept of I'm African, I don't get tired. It's starting to be a reality. Okay. You have a champion's jab or something like that. Trevor Whitman said your jab is gonna keep you champion or something crazy like that. I'm paraphrasing. Body kicks were really good. The jab to the body kick, stabbing that gas tank, changing up, switching lefty to righty, and still having an effective jab, crisp piston popping jab. Constant pressure was Covington worthy. Because you ever see Covington is always in someone's face in the beginning. It was the other way around, but as the match started to shift, he's dominating the center of the octagon, and it was vintage Kamaru Usman. And the other thing I like about him is you see a lot of people on the road to getting their championship, Rob. On the road to the championship, they get a lot of finishes, but when they become the champion, there's a lot of decisions because they're so evenly matched with nothing but the top contenders. You'll see John Jones, almost became a decision machine. But this guy's the other way around. He got a bunch of decisions, and now in the championship fights, he's getting finishes. And it's because, like you said, I don't think we've seen the best of him yet. And having Whitman as his coach, them hands. He's going to be one of them wrestlers that fall in love with his hands, and I hope he doesn't, whatever. Now, is it a question of who's next for him? He wants Jorge Masvidal again because he wants to finish. He entered that fight with a broken nose, and then he didn't like Jorge Masvidal talking crap, saying Jorge talking about, oh, I broke his nose, and the underlying factor was that he already broke his nose 2 weeks before that fight even happened. So that rubbed him the wrong way, and he wants to give Masvidal that rematch. But if he stays in the division, if Kobe wins again, it's probably they're gonna run that back. But as far as giving the champion what he wants, yeah, man, give him that. As far as moving up to 185, Adesanya is a handful because Adesanya has long reach and is moving up to 205, and the only way they're gonna fight is
We'll see.
if Usman moves up, right? The only ideal matchup for me is if Khabib comes out of retirement because he has 185 pound strength and fights at 155. So so I think that'd be two wrestlers. Guess what? Maybe they let their hands go. Maybe that's an interesting match too, right? You ever see
I
that?
don't see
You ever
that
notice
being
that?
interesting. Yeah, but no, I understand. But like, as long if they started wrestling, because Khabib is does what he does, so
Yep.
that would be a lot more interesting. But
Ooh.
yeah, I just don't see anybody else really being even Masvidal. Like, you could say that he broke his nose, even if he did, like, the fight wasn't really. They could say it was close, but Kamaru Usman pretty much controlled that whole fight. It wasn't really competitive. So that's what I'm saying. Just looking for new challenges. Going outside the box, especially if Izzy ends up taking the 205 title and comes down, tries to be a triple champ. That could be a very interesting battle. So we could see.
Yeah, Izzy's got this crazy body where it looks like he can fight in 3 weight classes. All right. First of all, we already know that dude ain't going above 205. All right. I don't even think he'll stay at 205 if he wins. I mean, he's in my mind, I think he's too light to fight and too thin to win when it comes in that. And we're talking up Izzy and his undefeated streak, but I'd be disrespectful to ignore Blachowicz. Right, who says he's not going to win that fight? Who says his knockout power is not enough to starch Izzy?
So we've already seen, somebody who, is a all-time Hall of Famer, Max Holloway, go up a division and lose to a Dustin Poirier. Nothing against Dustin Poirier, but, he's not really in any conversation for, greatest of his weight division. So, I think there's a lot to be said about being great at where you're best, you know.
Yeah, Dustin, his boxing and his slips and his patience and his ability to eat heavy shots better suits him at 155. I mean, Conor probably wasn't even the one that hit him hardest in his career. It was probably Justin Gaethje. And I thought Michael Johnson, when Johnson finished him at 155, I thought Johnson hit him cracked him 2 times really hard that made him whoop. But but before we leave UFC, we got, and we'll definitely repair a lot of this on Quick Question. Big up to my man Anthony Hernandez. Big underdog against a submission specialist. Huge underdog, including 30-1 underdog to win by submission. Rob, we should have put some money on that. Look, we should have put some money on that, but something we definitely going to do is we're going to put some respect on that man's name, dude. Like you said in the beginning of this podcast. Put some respect on this man's name. Put some respect. No one's being disrespectful, but it's very much like Damian Lillard, right? Where nobody's disrespecting him, but you got these 2-hour talk shows and Lillard doesn't even come up, I mean, only this morning, I think Stephen A. Smith was on First Take saying, I apologize. That's my bad. And he's finally owning up and he's encouraging everybody else to. But very much like Lillard, game bred like Masvidal, hits hard like, I don't know who hits hard, Derek Lewis, wrestles like Khabib. He's a total package. He's very St. Pierre worthy. He's St. Pierre worthy. History will be. As we continue to go, and he writes his own history. Maybe we'll have this conversation in the near future. But for now, let's check out MMA. Let's check into the NFL. All right, Rob. Topic 2. We've been talking about quarterback changes, and I think there's as many as 18 possibilities for quarterback changes this season. And we talked about it last week, and we talked a little bit about it the week before. But this week, Rob, let's talk defense. Let's talk one of my favorite players, defensive players to ever grace the field, and I put him up there with Michael Strahan and Lawrence Taylor as a New York guy, and Bruce Smith. J.J. Watt asked for his release from the Houston Texans. Maybe he got tired of the drama, and to their credit, they granted him his release. Maybe it's Him on the way out is best for them. Him on the way out is best for himself. So, Rob, with everybody talking about quarterback changes, we're talking about defense. Where's a good landing spot for J.J.
I
Watt?
mean, I've been talking about it from the beginning, but like, as soon as he got dropped, he's a Wisconsin boy. They need a lot of defensive line help in Wisconsin, and that meaning Green Bay. And I think he would take a large discount, especially, being a hometown kid, understanding that the team is owned by the people. And it's kind of hard for them to scrape up a lot of money past paying Aaron Rodgers $42 a year. But, past that, I think he just wants to win a championship. And I think, to bring one to Green Bay, to the hometown, to where you're probably going to live after football, why not that? And I think, nothing else really makes much more ideal fit perfect sense for me. But, it's a championship team in his hometown. That's like perfect fit.
Before I pick my team, this man is responsible for the Texans being 12-4 for 3 seasons during his tenure there. Yates was one of the quarterbacks. Orton was one of the quarterbacks. And the rest, I'm not even going to grace our podcast and name them because as much as I respect elite athletes, they are not worthy. 12-4. This man got 6 touchdowns one of those seasons. Should have been the MVP. But everybody's like, no, the most important position is the quarterback. Clearly it's not. Clearly it's not. This man on offense caught 3 touchdown passes. On defense, an interception returned for a touchdown. 2 fumbles returned for a touchdown. The guy got 6 touchdown passes. Scored 6 touchdowns, which is more than a lot of marquee receivers who are asking to make that money. You shocked me, Rob. You surprised me with Green Bay. It is a hometown thing, and he ain't scared to play in the cold, and he definitely wants to play for a team that's championship worthy. And as much as the Packers have dropped the ball in the NFC Championship game, to be in the NFC Championship picture every year shows that they're championship worthy. It shows that they can hit or miss every year, and that's what J.J. Watt deserves. But as far as good landing spots, I like the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'd like for him to play with his brother. I like for him to play for a coach that preaches defense, that finally has more tools. I mean, they only had T.J. Watt, and then plugging in players and still manage to bend but don't break. And I mean, if Tomlin can do that with the clientele that has been enlisted for him, and imagine what he can do with the brother act and the two of them. Yeah. I mean, you surprised me. You pulled the gangster move on me because I have to admit that you have a better argument for I think you got me on this debate. I think you have a better argument for Green Bay than I would for Pittsburgh. But I just think as a fan, and just because it's Tomlin love, right? I'm in love with the guy, I guess, I picked the Steelers. So, yeah, but I really like Green Bay, man. Green Bay.
Yeah, I mean, I got to give Aaron Rodgers some love, man. He doesn't even get love from his GM. They can't even draft a defensive lineman for them. So why not pick one up in the free agency,
Yep.
Get one gifted.
Look, isn't it crazy that the best players to play the game aren't the ones that are worried about all the money? I mean, Rodgers is one of the best throwers in the game, probably one of the best throwers I've seen since Dan Marino, as far as the arm is concerned. But, I mean, you got the GOAT. Taking a discount. Let's just put it this way, Rob. When you have people wanting to play with you, ringing you up, hitting you up, what does it take for me to play with you? You're going to this team, I want to play with you. And I'll take a discount to play with you. Man, that is. It's ignored, and I'm like, the only thing that Tom Brady can do to make it not be ignored is to win the whole thing all the time. You know what I'm saying? Because as soon as he doesn't, it's like, oh, Father Time's undefeated or this or that. But this guy got Antonio. I mean, this guy's got people following him. That's how you know someone's influential. And I think J.J. Watt is very much like that on defense. And the man's, by the way, is a community hero in Houston for the work and philanthropy that he's done during the hurricanes and floods and all that stuff with his own, with his money. Not to mention physically going out there in a pickup truck rescuing people in floods. I mean, talk about a true hero, a true American hero. I give you J.J. Watt. So cool, man. So Green Bay. I like
Green Bay, man.
Yeah, man. Make yours Green Bay. Make mine the Steelers. Though I don't know. When this podcast is over, I'm gonna turn the camera off and say, Rob, you're right. But for now, I gotta fake the funk. um, all right. Hey, topic three. Moving right along, we go to the NBA. Let's talk a little drama, okay? Let's talk a little flopping. LeBron James, and along with Kyle Kuzma, has been warned by the NBA for flopping. Obviously, there's some video footage of him flopping and this and that. So, the question um, is this warning or is all this drama surfacing? Is it is it problematic for the NBA as a league, or problematic for um, James? And I'd like to go first on this one. And my answer is it's problematic on the league, but not the league in guidelines, but the league and how they execute it, right? LeBron James is a huge individual. LeBron James gets fouled pretty much every time he goes to the room, but because he drives past people in Shaquille O'Neal-esque fashion, he doesn't get called for fouls that would get James Harden to the line 25 plus times a game, for Christ's sakes. So, problem for the league only because they have to get their referees to start calling some of these fouls. If some referees start calling some of these fouls, you're going to see LeBron flop less. You know what I mean? Because I refuse to believe some like Chris Paul is the guy who has the elbow grease and arm strength to send LeBron James flying across the court. Give me a break. I mean, Chris Paul walks around like he's hard, but he ain't. Come on, man, you ain't sending no big dude off like that. So not problematic for James. He made the adjustment to the league making the adjustment, and the floor is yours.
Yeah, so I think it's definitely problematic for the league, just because flopping has always been an issue, and I think it's kind of been the slow degradation of the league. You know, back in the day, they talk about hard fouls and technical fouls, and how easily it was to just hack somebody and just get away with it. Now it's on the other side of the spectrum where, anybody gets touched in a certain motion, they even haven't gotten right, giving somebody, adequate space to land. You see people landing on other people's feet all the time, whether it's, accidental or it's, planned or intentional. That shouldn't be up to the refs. So I think a lot of these rules have to really get revisited, and I think the NFL did a really good job with it about 3-4 years ago with all these catch rules, protecting the quarterback rules. They were way too stringent on them. And so I just think it just takes, everybody getting in the room and creating another way to look at how fouls are going to be called, because, that's the reason why I don't even like watching basketball a lot of the times, is that, it's basically waiting for another whistle to be called as soon as somebody drives to the basket. When the playoffs come around, it's nothing like that. Playoff basketball is totally different than season basketball. So, yeah, like you're saying, I think it's starting to come to a head where, if you start finding players are going to start speaking out about it, and it's going to become a very big issue socially in the league on how the calls are being called. Because at the end of the day, is it the referees that are calling the calls? Is it the league that's mandating, a certain type of play? Are the players really at the freedom to play the game the way they could or should anymore? Is it really taking away from the big man being able to play underneath the basket? Is it the reason why the league is sped up so much? So I just think there's a lot of questions to be asked on why it's happening. And you could say that the league is trying to speed up the game, and it is for money, and it is for, a certain thing. But again, this is why I feel like it's very problematic. And when you're trying to find players, for flopping, when at the end of the day, you created this issue, with everything being touch and go. So I think just maybe revisiting those rules and kind of redefining the way that, those touch fouls are called nowadays.
Yeah, I also have a rule for refereeing, and this is for every sport. This is for mixed martial arts. This is for football. This is for basketball. Our wheelhouse, indoor and beach volleyball. If you don't see it, don't say it. You know, and I mean volleyball. We have a huge problem. Well, we don't have we have a huge problem with them being too strict on calls that go beyond the actual rules. You know, like double hit and carry or whatever. Like, you never see someone in volleyball double hit and then the crowd scream, "Let them play." You got to let them play. That's not, they're like, no, that's, you broke the damn rule. No, you can't do that. So, and I would like to see a little bit more of that in football with pass interference. Oh, no, they're just two guys going after it. Let them play. No, if you see pass interference, call pass interference. Now, just like, the reason why I even brought up volleyball, just like volleyball, as a ref, if you see the net shake, but you didn't see who hit the net, don't guess. Don't, you're the only guy there and the net shook. So no, you didn't see it. You missed it. You screwed up. You swallow your whistle. And that's where I think the NBA can get a little bit better. You see someone fly to the floor. You're like, oh, it's probably because this guy did it. Boom, boom, you know. And now you're out there guessing, and when you're guessing, man, you're gonna make so many enemies, man. You're gonna make enemies out of the players. You're gonna make enemies out of the coach. You're gonna make enemies out of the league that's actually assigning you to do those games and missing those calls. And now the trust or the reliability of you game in and game out is compromised because you're guessing on someone's actions. So I mean, that's why it's such a unique question. It's a chicken or the egg question, Rob. So I think, and that's why I side with the players on this. Just if you don't see it, don't say it. If you miss a call, then you miss a call, but you don't want to miss a call guessing. It's my least. I guess it's from a more personal thing as a longtime coach. I'm like, dude, you guessed. And it wasn't even a good one. You know, it hit the
Yeah.
antenna. No, did you, okay. Did the ball hit the antenna? No. If sometimes if you screw up, hey, I missed it. The players will have more respect for you. The league will keep assigning you, and the game flow. There's not a mistrust for people that own up. Referees are people too. Referees have egos too. You know, you've been in games where, like, you just told me last week there was a game where they called you into the net and they're like, well, and then when they were wrong about the first of all, they were wrong about the net, but even if they were wrong about the net, it was after the play, and then they were like, well, there's this continuation rule. So they instead of just admitting they're wrong and they missed it, they have to have these rationalizations to justify their call. And when they think the rationalizations keeps the game going and makes people respect them, it has the opposite effect. I don't trust you. In fact, right now, I don't even like you. Technical, kiss my ass. You're gone. Fine, got my money's worth. You know, so but that's why I was slightly leaning, but I guess as I keep pontificating this, I'm heavily leaning towards the league. You know, anything
Yeah.
else you want to add to that?
No, I just think, NBA has been has transitioned and evolved a lot since I've watched it. So. I always loved
Yeah.
the back to the basket game and a little bit slower basketball game. But hey, I guess
Yeah.
everybody's loving the fast pace, so we'll see what changes.
Yeah, man. I mean, doing the same thing with football, but you're right about one thing, man. When the playoffs start, man, people just need to start playing good basketball and football. Right in the Super Bowl, how many pass interference calls? I mean, there was one that was iffy, that was unfair, but there were four or five total, and the other four were like, you can't yank the guy. You can't trip the guy. Oh, he was just falling forward and the trip was no, he fell forward with a hand out and yanked his foot. Stop it. You got to let him play. No, shut your mouth. So, all right. Well, I'm shutting my mouth in the NBA because we are approaching our next topic. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you to shame or not to shame.
Shame. Shame. Shame. Shame. Shame.
Okay, Bobby McGee. Let's go let's go there. There you are. There I am. There you are. All right, so, Rob, to shame or not to shame? I'm embarrassed to even, like, have this on the show, but whatever, just for fun. All right. The daughter of the Lombardi Trophy designer, Lorraine Groh, wants an apology from Tom Brady for throwing the trophy from one boat to the next playing catch. She feels it was disrespectful and she wants an apology. So, Rob, I doubt that either one of us are going no shame. So the question is it shame on Brady or is it shame on Lorraine?
I mean, shame on Lorraine. She hasn't done anything in her life to ever tell somebody who just won the Lombardi Trophy to not do whatever they would like to do with the Lombardi Trophy. And that goes to everybody on the team, not just Tom Brady. And second off, yeah, just I'm glad that they did whatever they wanted to do with it. If anything, she could just, apologize back for trying to ask for an apology because, yeah, she's just out of line. Yeah, she's just out of line.
Dude, I'm with you. I gotta go shame because if you see what they do to trophies, no one wants an apology when you pour alcohol in a trophy and drink out of it. No one wants an apology when everybody's kissing a trophy and there's more freaking lip marks on it than I don't know, than a Friday night in an Oklahoma whorehouse. Who knows? So, and she didn't even design the dang thing. Okay, he was playing catch. To win a trophy is to remind everybody that the game is still fun. Okay, the game is still fun, and you want to have fun with what you won. It's a celebration. When you win a trophy, a trophy is a culmination of a celebration, and all Tom Brady was doing was celebrating. Give me a break. And you're right, shame. And Tom Brady shouldn't apologize, and she should. When you're the artist, you paint the picture, you sell it. It's not yours anymore, as if it were hers to begin with. So, okay. Sorry, that was more of a humorous thing. It ended up making me angry. What's up with that? I'm angry. It's all mad all the. It's COVID. It's COVID, dude. I mean, lately, and I think for both of us, I've been mad at more things than on a normal situation. I'm not. I'm like, hey Jason, what? I'm like, this has made me angry, man. And now I don't know. Hopefully we get through this and we get to get out there and play. All right.
Soon.
Hey, next question. It's quick question. Quick question. Oh. Rob, keep it. McLean. Quick question. Are the Jazz a threat to win the West with Anthony Davis out for a little bit? He's only going to be out for a little bit. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I say absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, good teams are going to win. You need stars, but stars without the teamwork, yeah, they're a threat. Quick question, Rob. With Anthony Davis hurt, will LeBron win MVP?
I don't believe so. Yeah, I don't believe so. That's his number one assist guy, and if he's not throwing up triple doubles, he's not getting MVP.
Right. Well, the good thing is Davis has Achilles tendinosis, and it's not a rupture, so he's only going to be out for a week and a half. But I think them as a precaution are probably going to have him out closer to the month. Who should win? Damian Lillard. Who will win because Anthony Davis is out? It's probably going to be LeBron James. Quick question. Is it time for the Cowboys to give Dak Prescott his 4-year contract? Yes or no?
Honestly, no. At this point, I don't think that their team is ready to get to the playoffs, regardless of their quarterback. So I think they need to build more.
I'm torn. I have to say no because you are what your record says you are, even though he's not the type of player that stops playing if he gets his contract. Prescott reminds me of seems like the kind of guy that's going to play football as if he doesn't have his contract. So, but like to quote like you said, to quote the great Bill Parcells, you are what your record says you are, and he's had all the tools and very little excuses. Go ahead, please.
Just on top of that, though, I mean, he has had great comebacks, and as a quarterback, you're not really. I think the real problem is Ezekiel Elliott, and I'm not trying to say anything on him, but I think he wants to play a certain type of football, and he's smart enough to know what that football is. And Dak Prescott can't play with Ezekiel Elliott. They're both running style players, and they really don't have anybody as a threat with their arm. So you got to get somebody who can throw the ball down the field.
Very true, my man. Very true. Quick question. Who wins between Curtis Blades and Derek Lewis, the UFC this weekend? The wrestler and striker versus the pure striker. I'll go first. I'll go Derek Lewis. Good one punch knockout. And if Ngannou caught Blades twice, I like Lewis's chances.
I like Blades just because I think there's just too many glaring, negatives in Derek Lewis's game. You have to stand up every round, but when I see him fight, even still, he looks very shaky on his feet. Like his defense is not the greatest. You get him on the ground, he's not getting up very quickly, and that's what Curtis Blades does. So
yeah, man.
I think I see Curtis Blades.
I like how you said that, and also Blades. He has a Cormier-esque style wrestling, and if Cormier, who was undersized, found a way to take Derek Lewis down, I do like. And when he's on top, those elbows. Did you see what he did to Overeem? I mean, my girl was like, turn the TV off. It was crazy. Quick question, Rob. Is anyone more clutch at the end of the game than Damian Lillard right now?
Right now, no. But yeah, there's a couple guys out there that are fun to watch. That's for sure. But I love that. The Trailblazers are giving him full green light, and he's taking advantage.
I'm with you. There's no one out there better than him as far as being clutch at the end. And another, thank the Lord, I love seeing these players that get their money and they still play. They're still playing as if they don't have a contract. God bless that guy. And wants to retire a Blazer. I'm a fan now. I'm a fan, dude, and I should have been a fan. Quick question: will Cam be back with the Patriots next season?
Yes, but should he, or should he be able to find maybe some other place to, cozy up in? I think so, because, this, he just is not the same player he was. So he's got to figure out his game again.
I say yes. And and that's all I got to say. I mean, that could go on, but it's supposed to be a quick question. My bad. Quick question. Should the Niners stay with Jimmy G as their starter?
Yeah. What else they got? Nick Mullins?
Yep. Yeah. Hey, 24-8 when he's healthy. So, yep, I go yeah. Quick question. Will Alex Smith start game 1 for the Washington football team?
He should. He definitely should.
Yeah. Everybody likes Heineke, but everyone likes the hot shot captain. I like the colonel, the sure shot, the guy who you know. Quick question: will Serena win the U.S. Open?
It's going to be the winner or loser of her and Osaka. So,
stylistically, wow, right? A good match. Osaka has beaten her in a Grand Slam before.
Yeah. So I mean, I honestly, and I'm not trying to be mean, but I don't think so, because I think Osaka will beat her. But we'll see. Yeah, whoever wins that match was going to win that tournament.
After watching what Serena did to Halep, I got to say yes. I think she beats Osaka 2-0. Quick question: will Djokovic, the number 1 seed, win the men's Australian Open?
I think no. I think Nadal, but we'll see.
I think Nadal too. Very good. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our section of Quick Question. And Rob and I did our very best. I'd like Rob to elaborate more than me, because I think my runoffs are a little longer than his. So for you, of course, if you got something you want to say, you say it. Ladies and gentlemen, before we go, no specific shout outs, but in light of the fact that it's Black History Month, I want to mention one name that I mentioned in a previous podcast, but can't be mentioned enough. He passed Coach John Thompson of Georgetown University, longtime coach, NCAA champ, multiple Final Four appearances. The plethora of players. Allen Iverson is the most highlighted, but Allen Iverson was one of the handful of players that were kind of one and done. So big up to this man that was not only a good coach, but was a father figure, and that shaped young black boys to men, to grown men, to good human beings. Because the old saying is, white people have a career black people have a responsibility. And if there's anyone that taught you how to be a good basketball player as well as a responsible an adult, and something that he can be proud of, if they have kids, they can be proud of, and the kids after that, John Thompson. By the way, for basketball, men's basketball, 97% graduation rate. The graduation rate for the rest of the school, the people who are not athletes, is 94%. He's 3 percentage points higher. So this whole thing about dumb athletes and dumb jocks, the man defies it, redefines it, and tells everybody this is the way. And he is, as far as raising good human beings and basketball players, he is the measuring stick, which I think all of these coaches should be compared. Black History Month, John Thompson.
Absolutely.
Yep. So, Rob, is there anything you want to say before we wrap up today?
No, man, all good. Just be happy, be healthy.
Be hungry too, right? Yo, you gotta eat. We gotta eat after this, dude. We gotta get our lunch on. Where you going? Let me be nosy.
To my kitchen.
Oh, to your kitchen? Cool.
Yeah.
You ever have burritos for lunch from Brothers? Do you ever?
Yeah.
Or is that just like a breakfast thing? You ever get your lunch on?
Yeah, sometimes. I think probably on one hand I could tell you how many times I've eaten lunch at Brothers, but it's good. I eat that pot roast from there. It's good.
I'm feeling like a fat butt right now. I mean, and since we're adults, so adults get to eat breakfast whenever they want. So sometimes I have good stuff at night. It's pretty good stuff. Pancakes are freaking French toast at night. Oh God. But listen, if I knew how to cook like you, I'd make stuff at home more too. I mean, look, for everyone listening at home, Rob could throw down, man. Came to my house for a barbecue, man. The way we did that steak up.
Right.
Oh my God. All right, well, that's all I got. Rob loves you guys, and this week, because it's Valentine's Day weekend, so do I. I love you guys very much. All right, for all of you at home on your iPads, iPhones, Droid, desktop. For Rob, keep it McLean. I'm Jason DeBiss. This is episode 55, Sports Debate Tuesday, and we're out. Come check out the Option Podcast on OptionVB.com. It's also available on iTunes and Spotify, and on YouTube under the NY Varsity Sports handle. You're going to love what you hear.